the story called The Bear. We started talking about it last time, and what I want to know is, I asked you some questions, and I wanted to know what there are several things at issue here. As I mentioned last time, we've got a culture that's in rapid transition. And Faulkner is asking the question. I don't know that he has an answer, that he ever gives a real clear answer what the solution is to the problem of modernity that comes into the South all of a sudden, and the problem of what do you do with the post-Civil War situation where you had slaves and now you have freed slaves, and then you've got their descendants, and then what do you do with the fact that you started off with plantation owners, you've got this land, you have people who are kind of at a disadvantage. So what is the solution to modernity, industrialism, moving from an agrarian to an industrial society, capitalism, the whole modern world, all of those problems? So one of the things that you can consider, let's talk about, we didn't talk so much about the actual beginning of the story where it's the bear hunt, okay? Do you remember I asked you to look for 3 things that he had to leave behind? That Isaac, and remember we talked about Isaac, it's named Isaac for a reason, right? Okay, what did he have to leave behind to actually see the bear, old Ben? You might start on 2143. And then go on to 2144. 2143, 2144. What 3 things? Isaac and Ike are the same person, by the way. Ike. The gun. One is the gun. And last time Matthew pointed out that we were talking about how he got killed, and he did not get killed with the gun. How did he get killed? A knife. Okay. Okay. 2144. Right? Look over on 2144. Or maybe what we should do, okay, I'll read through this. Look at page 2142. We'll start there, okay? I mean, Faulkner has beautiful lyrical prose. I mean, it's just incredible. This is on 2142, and we're skipping down probably about 10 lines or 12 lines, and it says the first 2 words of the line are here, then. He heard only the drumming of the woodpecker stop, short off, and he knew that the bear was looking at him. He never saw it. He did not know whether it was facing him from the cane or behind him. He did not move, holding the useless gun which he knew now he would never fire at it, now or ever, tasting in his saliva that taint of grass which he had smelled in the huddled dogs when he peered under the kitchen. Then it was gone. Skipping to the bottom of that paragraph, the then it was gone paragraph. She came and crouched against his leg, trembling, the dog. I didn't see him, he said. I didn't, Sam. I know it, Sam said. He done the looking. You didn't hear him neither, did you? No, the boy said. He's smart, Sam said. Too smart. try the next page. The bottom of that page, the really short lines there, the one-line things. I reckon that was all right. Likely he's been watching you. You never saw his foot? The boy said, I never thought. It's the gun, Sam said. He stood beside the fence, motionless, the old man, son of a Negro slave and a Chickasaw chief, in the battered and faded overalls and the frayed 5-cent straw hat, which had been the badge of the Negro's slavery and was now the regalia of his freedom. The camp, the clearing, the house, the barn, its tiny lot, with which Major Despain in his turn had scratched punily and evanescently at the wilderness, faded in the dusk, back into the immemorial darkness of the woods. The gun, the boy thought, the gun. You will have to choose, Sam said. So he has to leave the gun, turn the page to 2144. What does he take?
Compass.
He takes a compass
And a stick.
and a stick, and then, okay, let's try the first full paragraph on 2144. By noon, do you see that? By noon, he was far beyond the crossing on the little bayou, farther into the new and alien country than he had ever been, traveling now not only by the compass, but by the old heavy biscuit-thick silver watch, which had been his father's. He had left the camp 9 hours ago. 9 hours from now, dark would already have been an hour old. He stopped for the first time since he had risen from the log, when he could see the compass face at last, and looked about, mopping his sweating face on his sleeve. He had already relinquished of his will because of his need, in humility and peace, and without regret. Yet apparently that had not been enough. The leaving of the gun was not enough. He stood for a moment, and highlight these lines. A child, alien and lost in the green and soaring gloom of the markless wilderness. Okay? He is now a child, alien and lost in the green and soaring gloom of the markless wilderness. Then he relinquished completely to it. It was the watch and the compass. He was still tainted. What does that mean? He also has to leave behind the watch and the compass. How does this part go on? What happens next? He leaves behind the watch and the compass. Okay, he has to start backtracking because he gets lost, right? And it's only when he is totally lost and he sits down, right? Let's see, on 2145, the third line from the top, and then fourth line. He did what Sam had coached and drilled him as the next and the last, seeing as he sat down on the log, the crooked print. So when he sits down, he has relinquished to the woods, to the wilderness, and he sits down and he sees the crooked print, the warped indentation in the wet ground, which, while he looked at it, continued to fill with water until it was level, full, and the water began to overflow. What does it mean that he sees the bear's footprint? He's sitting down, he sees the bear's footprint. What does it mean that it's now filling with water?
He's near.
He's really close, yeah, because he just left the footprint. Pardon?
I thought it was a fresh print.
It's just like seconds old. And so, the sides of the print began to dissolve away. Even as he looked up, he saw the next one, and moving the one beyond it, moving, not hurrying, running, but merely keeping pace with them as they appeared before him as though they were being shaped out of thin air. Just one constant pace short of where he would lose them forever and be lost forever himself. tireless, eager, without doubt or dread, panting a little above the strong, rapid little hammer of his heart, emerging suddenly into a little glade, and the wilderness coalesced. It rushed, soundless and solidified. The tree, the bush, the compass, and the watch, glinting where a ray of sunlight touched them, because he had left them behind, got thoroughly lost. Then he sees the footprints of the bear, and where does old Ben take him?